Midwinter might seem like the quiet time of year at the Missouri Botanical Garden, but it's certainly not quiet for staff at the herbarium.
So an herbarium is like a library of dried, pressed plants, and they're organized by species, and it's basically a physical, verifiable record of what plants were growing at any given time in a particular place.
Every week, boxes arrive from around the world, filled with samples that need to be documented, described, and named. This process turns a dried plant into a specimen, and the scientific name it's given serves as shorthand for a wealth of information. This process is time and labor-intensive, which can slow down important revelations about extinction, conservation, or even the healing or nutritional value of different species. But now, thanks to a large gift from an anonymous donor, a new Revolutionizing Species Identification, or RSI, project is being launched at the Missouri Botanical Garden, and it has the potential to accelerate and expand plant research on a global scale.
The new RSI project is a super exciting advancement of the garden because we're going to scan for the first time all 8 million specimens of the Missouri Botanical Garden Herbarium. Our herbarium is the largest reference collection of dried plants in the world. So by scanning them, we make the entire information available to the rest of the world, and we're building a reference library for plants on the planet.
This is the basis for us to be able to conduct high-quality restoration, high-quality conservation, education, and training programs and thinking about sustainability. And the one aspect that is really crucial is the collaborative aspect, because it's providing like a virtual space where we can do research locally, but also connect with a global community of botanists that is doing incredibly exciting research in different parts of the world.
A huge portion of them, we estimate something like 20% of plant species have not been described. We have more species in a tiny plot in some parts of the tropics than there are total species in the state of Missouri. We're still just kind of scratching at the surface of the biodiversity of our planet.
Plants give us the air we breathe, the food we eat, the clothes we wear, the medicines. In some ways, this new project is actually going to allow us to really leverage the power of plants so we can really ensure that our planet remains healthy and diverse and ready to sustain future generations.
So the applications for this are endless. This can help us model invasive species, for example, try to figure out where they're going to potentially show up next. It can help us identify rare species that are in particular danger. But first, there's a lot of labor involved to get the specimens digitized, and that's what this project does. It's a $14.5 million project to hire staff to image, database, do a lot of quality control. In addition to these visual scans with high-resolution digital cameras to try to build these identification tools, we're using a spectroradiometer, a fancy piece of technology, to take a full spectrum scan of those specimens.
We send a light impulse onto a leaf, and then basically depending on the reflection, we can tell what kind of chemical is in the leaf, we can tell something about the anatomical structure. So in other words, it creates a fingerprint of a species. And that fingerprint can actually be used to identify a species.
And then here we have wavelengths going from 350 nanometers all the way to 2500, which encompasses both the visible and non-visible range.
It works actually very well on dry plants because water would actually sort of deter the light a little bit. But the plan is in the future to also calibrate it for live material, for example, living plants, trees, and so on. And so the future vision would be that you could sort of mount the same sensors on a drone, for example, and a drone could fly over a canopy of trees and basically identify a tree species by comparing to our reference library created by scanning our herbarium.
The implementation of AI will help to speed up the process of identification, but it depends on the centuries of experience and work that has been and will be done by humans.
Humans are essential. I mean, first of all, the curation of the specimen can only be done by humans, and artificial intelligence is basically just complementary. So humans identify the plant specimens, and then the data set created by humans is actually used to train artificial intelligence. So in other words, artificial intelligence is only as good as humans.
It really could be transformative if you can build these automated species identification tools. That doesn't replace that expertise, and that's where we're running these two things in parallel. You'll always need that expertise to verify and test and refine those models. But if you can get things coming in from the field identified to a species with some degree of confidence, they can get them into the hands of the experts who can then verify those identifications or tell, oh, this is actually a new species, it needs to be described. So it's I see them as very complementary approaches and tools we are desperately in need of that kind of biodiversity data, and we do not have enough expertise globally to do it.
So in addition to teaching AI how to identify plants with the garden's existing specimens, the RSI project will focus on mentoring the next generation of botanists and taxonomists.
I'm really excited to be able to offer this really unique opportunity to gain a skill set that very few people have in herbarium, taxonomy, and curation. And we have some staff here who've been here for decades. They are world experts in their group, and the opportunity for those newer staff to learn from those people, I think, is just tremendous. That insight of what goes into a name and what goes into data of biodiversity, I think, is a really useful thing for a wide range of fields in conservation, land management, policymaking.
At the end of the day, the research and cataloging that is being done at the herbarium is instrumental in preserving not just the health of plants, but of the planet.
All the biodiversity and climatic challenges we are facing, these are all global problems, and we all need to work on it together.
If you say, oh yeah, I want to conserve the rainforest, you say, great. What should you be conserving? What should I be looking for when I go there and make sure that it's there? Or if there's a fire or some other kind of disaster and we want to replant things, what should we replant? We are stewards of a collection on behalf of humanity and helping humanity understand, wherever you are, the biodiversity that exists in the world.
By having the collections, by distributing this information, by working in a collaborative fashion, we can really think outside the box and work together towards solutions that are truly innovative and that will truly make a huge difference to the world.